Um, yeah, yeah. Okay, remind me to tell you about it. So refresh. DWLO is on here. We got a free gift. Apply now. Oh, that's not it. Okay, let's try that. What's that doing? Apply now. Hey, so that's only a few seconds behind, so we're doing fine there. All right. Hello, everybody. Let's talk about some magic rules. Let's talk about some magic rules tonight. Can you feel the magic tonight? Can you feel it?
I can feel it. Can you feel it?
How about now?
Well, how about that?
Can you feel the love? What is it?
That's the updated.
I don't know what you're showing me.
I'm showing you a picture of the beach.
Oh, okay. Can you feel the love tonight? Let's see, what do we got next? We're going to go officially live at a little less than 3 minutos. Going to talk about some stuff and some things and some things and some stuff this evening. I'm a big fan of stuff and things. Big fan. Been a big fan of stuff and things. All right, Mama Bear going to go check on the little bears. So, I don't want to talk too much about it because I'll end up repeating all of it. So I got to find something else I can talk about tonight. Has anybody been to see the new Superman movie? Jerry was over here on Friday working on a couple little projects that we got going, and he said that he was going to see the Superman movie. We don't have it. Can you believe it? In the size of town that we have, 75 people here, and don't even have a moving picture show theater here in Perilous Island, Oklahoma. We used to. Whatever happened to all the moving picture show theaters? Like we used to have like 4 or 5 of them scattered around. It's like just the changing of the times, you know. And it's weird when entire industries like just collapse, but it's cyclic. You know, it happens over and over again. You know, to these industries that just kind of all of a sudden just are no longer needed. Whale oil, right? The whalers that were out, you know, getting whales for clean oil, right? Or clean burning oil, and then like you know, the entire industry basically collapses, you know, overnight when things shift. Pony Express riders, you know, right? It's like, well, okay, we don't need y'all anymore, and the whole kit and caboodle is wiped out.
Kit and caboodle?
Both the kit and the caboodle are gone.
And caboodles.
And we're going to go officially live in about 15 seconds from Mark. When you feel the love tonight.
Lay down, Patchy.
DWLO is on here. I see a Ptolemachus. I see a Clyde Dashing, if that is your real name. I see a Bride G. I see a Ptolemachus in the Pennsylvania way. I see a Navy Dub.
Hey, it's 8 o'clock.
And that means I'm supposed to say something along the lines of, hi, Neil Morgan and Clint and Bob and Newt Pond Skipper. Howdy, howdy, howdy. This is Dave here at Pulp Alley, and I am with the world's most dangerous Bessy.
And Patch.
And Patch is running around in here somewhere. You want to say hi to Patch? Hi, Patch. Hi, Patches. Apache boy. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you going to say hi? Yes, a good papa. I'm a good pupper. Yes, I miss. I'm a good pupper right there. Yes, I miss. Right there, right there. Okay, so that's
All right,
Patches.
That's enough, puppy.
That's Patches.
I mean, I could do it all night, but I'm sure.
That's Patches. Apache boy. Let's see. So, working a lot on the magic rules right now. I had always intended for the magic rules to be released at the same time as Tomb of the Serpent. I don't know that that's going to happen. Probably isn't going to happen. I'll probably end up launching and releasing the magic stuff first. I don't know when, because on a project like this, it is obviously it's not as big as Tomb of the Serpent, but it still has a lot of moving parts to it that we kind of have to go through and kick the tires on. So let's do that together, shall we? Get on your kicking boots.
Your kicky boots?
Your kicking boots.
Kicking or kicky?
What?
Kicking or kicky?
I don't know.
I only have kicky boots.
You only have kicky boots?
Kicky boots.
I didn't say kinky boots.
I didn't say kinky either.
Get a load of this one. Get a load of this one.
Okay.
Let's talk about magic for a little bit, shall we? So, I really love dragging these projects out over a year or so because it really feels like, right? It's like a good stew where you want the flavors to all kind of have time to like meld together into this huge melting pot sort of thing of congealiness where it just kind of, it's like every bite is just so flavorful. That's what Pulp Alley Magic is going to be like. So I'm really happy that we're at the point that we are. So here's a quick look at what I would call the anatomy of a magic card. Now, send me back to the other camera. This is a work in progress. So there is always a fairly decent chance that some of the things that I'm going to show you are going to be different in the actual version.
It is never zero that this whole entire thing could be entirely different.
Yeah. Everything I can show you tonight can be completely wrong.
It could be.
I don't want to.
It's never zero, but the chances.
I don't want to oversell it. So let's look at what a magic card looks like.
Okay.
So here's what the newest version of the magic cards have on them. We have a name, which is completely pointless and meaningless. And you know what? I toyed over and over again, and Bessy and I had a lot of discussions about do we want. So this one's called Dementus. We had a lot of discussions over the spell name, and we went back and forth on it, and we thought, well, let's give them names like, Fireball and,
That was his idea. That was
Twisted Sister and stuff like that.
I don't remember that big.
No, that was one of them you suggested. Now she's denying it. But anyway, in the end, we are fairly certain that we have landed on the naming convention that we're going to use for most of our magic spells.
I am very certain. I shall not be.
Yeah. And I know that there are some folks out there that said, it's inspired by Harry Potter. No. That's not. The use of Latin terms for
goes
spells
back well into the 80s.
Goes back well before Harry Potter. I was actually watching, you guys remember that old movie Dragon Slayer? It's on one of the streaming services, Netflix or Max or something like that. Dragon Slayer, from 1981 or something like that, you know. And I was
Awesome.
watching that. Another reason to watch it is because Palpatine's in it, so that was freaking awesome.
And the
Ian
other guy.
McDermott
And the other
was
guy.
in it. Yeah. But anyway, but in that movie, which I always remembered it. Sometimes I don't like going back and watching those old movies because I can see them through 1980s lenses. Were you born in 1981? Okay. So I can see them through 1981 lenses, and I won't go back and watch Conan the Barbarian because I
No,
want to
you won't.
remember it as being the freaking awesome movie that I remember. I don't want to go back and watch it and realize, oh, that really wasn't very
Because
good.
you're not just watching it, you're like, you know, the dimensions of that tunnel cave are completely
know.
wrong. And that's what you spend.
I know. But anyway, also the poster for Dragon Slayer was beautiful. Jeffrey Jones did that. He changed his name later. But Jeffrey Jones did that. The movie poster, absolutely beautiful poster that he did for that. Anyway, what was I talking about?
The name.
But anyway, but
she
they
said,
use Latin
I speak Latin.
in it.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, they use Latin for casting their spells in that movie, and it's just like, wow, you know, like, but it goes back even further than that. In old novels and old stories, you know, they would use just Latin for spell casting. I'm not saying they always did, but it's not was not something that J.K. Rowling came up with.
No, I think she literally invented.
No, she did not.
She went back and invented
But anyway,
it
the
later.
long and the short of it is we're probably going to end up with silly names like Dementus. Now, one of the things we tried to do is to make this name of the spell, although this is fairly close to some sort of Latin-y sort of sounding word, it also kind of, if you know what the spell does, then you know what it does. Then you know it's easy to think about this. This is Dementus. This makes you draw horror cards. So that's what that does. Really cool. So you have the name of the spell, then you have the level of the spell. So
Also, fun fact.
some spells.
Going back to names,
Uh-huh.
you can change that name.
Yeah. Scribble it out with a crayon or a Sharpie or however you choose to live your life.
There's literally.
Write it in blood.
It means
Write it in
nothing
blood on there.
other than differentiating them on our end, so
Gives
you
it
are more than
greater
welcome
power.
to
It's written in blood, like the Kiss comic books were.
to name them all Twisted Sister and
yeah,
REO Speedwagon and everything
And then it
else.
tells you whether or not it's an enchantment. This one is targeted. Remember, if it says targeted on it, that means that you must identify the target before you roll for the dice. So let's have a fun one here on Dementus here. This is a enemy within 12 inches, finesse versus finesse. Now the older version of this card would have only said finesse on it, but we went ahead and spelled it out. Finesse, when it is an opposed roll, it will say so on the card. So finesse versus finesse. I don't know if I have enough dice out here to do this. So let's say old Lady Elaine here was going to
She's
throw
young. Don't say old.
the old gal herself
The old gray mare.
is going to throw a Dementus spell at number 2. So number 2, Elaine has 3 die 8 in the spell. And what is important here is to remember that although it only requires 1 success, normally it only requires 1 success to get the spell to work. The more successes you roll will almost always matter. It will almost always matter, especially when you're trying to throw it on an enemy. That's when it could really matter. So Lady Elaine got 1 success here. To make this spell work, she's got to roll more successes than number 2. And remember, this is a finesse versus finesse. So an old number 2 here, she's got 2 die 6 in finesse. And of course, she gets the 1 success she needs to block that Dementus. And she says no to it. But what if Lady Elaine had got 2 successes? What if Lady Elaine had rolled 2 successes and number 2 only got 1? Then that means the spell takes effect, and you would want to stack the spell card with number 2. You know how we do it. You'll want to stack the spell card with number 2, something like that. And you're going to put 2 tokens on there to show that that is the power of that spell.
Ooh.
And we're mainly using green tokens for that. So now the power of the spell means something, because that is how hard it is for number 2 to shake off the spell. Also, it's how many times Lady Elaine is going to be able to make number 2 draw a horror card. And it is important to notice here that it is not a horror check. It does not say, well, I remove a token to make them roll a horror check. I remove a token to make them draw a horror card. So, as soon as number 2 activates, as soon as number 2 activates, whammy, I can take off one of those tokens and make her draw a horror card.
Not roll
a horror check, but to actually draw
she
a
has
horror.
to draw.
Now, there's also spell recovery. So, although she has been affected by that enchantment, she can also try to fight it off. And guess what? It works exactly like all the other recovery checks in the game. So, just like a health recovery, just like a horror recovery, if you have an enemy spell attached to you, you can try to shake it off at the end of the turn by rolling 1d6. And if you roll a 4 or better,
got it.
Okay, got a 6. You can remove 1 token from one of the enemy spells that are attached to you. So, something a little like that. So it's certainly possible through different means there, that if the spell was very low powered, like if it only had 1 power on it, before it even got back around to number 2's activation, it could have already been scrubbed off of there and gone. And that is just part of the way it's designed to work, is part of that timing to kind of think about there. Anywho, so that's a little bit. Now, so after it tells you what skill you rolled, it says finesse versus finesse. It tells you what the effect is. Remember that this is an enchantment, so part of the rules of being an enchantment are when you successfully cast it, it attaches to that character. It does not say it on the card because that is part and parcel of it simply being an enchantment.
Yeah.
Now down here at the bottom, it also says miscast. Draw X horror cards and check for a vortex. So a miscast occurs when you're casting a spell and if you fail to roll any successes. If you get 0 successes, and that is why it is so dangerous for low-level characters or people that don't have good skills in a particular spell to try to use those spells. Because when you start meddling with forces you cannot control, it can have bad consequences. And it can mess you up mentally or physically. I'm living proof of that. Next. Now, when you check for the vortex, what it's talking about there is when you draw the X, you have to draw X horror cards. When you draw the X, if the flame icon appears on it, then something else happens as well. You get a bonus.
Because drawing cards, not enough.
Yeah, let's have a little extra fun. And then we're going to go into a page here about spellcasters. We're going to talk about spell books. So one of the things that we talked about quite a bit as we were going through this is how we wanted to deal with spells. Can you just change out your spells willy-nilly, in between scenarios and stuff like that? And I think where we landed is we wanted spells to be fairly permanent things. So
DW
once
has a
you
good eye.
learn, what is it?
Said DW has a good eye. He said, "Is that a vortex template? Perhaps the war disc."
Yeah. So yes, yeah, I want to show that to everybody. Look right here, unstable vortex. So if an unstable vortex appears on the table, we had Elder Burkhart whittle us up a few special Amish war discs here for the unstable vortex. So if an unstable vortex is on the table, I don't know that we'll have these for a long time, but I did have, a stack of them made, so I don't know exactly how we'll package these up and give them away. But they're not cheap for us to make, so I don't know how long term we'll actually be able to keep these in stock or what we're going to actually do with them. But that could appear on the table, and it can move around the table and cause all kinds of havoc. That is the unstable
It does look
vortex.
really cool on the table, though.
It does look nice.
So spell books, changing spells.
Yeah. So once you pick a spell, and you gain spells basically by picking abilities that say you get a spell. So there are two basic abilities that give you spells, and one is called innate talent, and one is called spellcraft. So if you take the spellcraft ability, then you gain a number of spells equal to your level. So that's pretty good. Wham bam, a level 3 character like Lady Elaine picks up spellcraft, and all of a sudden she gets to add 3 spells to her spell book. If you also added innate talent on, now spellcraft comes with a negative. It does hinder your brawling and your shooting skill. So you're not going to be, it's going to kind of hurt you on just basic fighting. Innate talent gives you 1 spell, but it doesn't affect your brawling and shooting. But and it gives you just 1 spell.
But those can be layered.
They can be layered.
So if you're a leader, you can get 5.
And through arcane research, by spending experience points, you can even add more spells later in the game as well. So you can actually get a pretty big stack of spells in your spell book. So they are intended to be permanent. You don't memorize spells, for a specific scenario. They are typically going to be, once they are learned, those are the spells you know how to cast. Then we got a page here just about basic spell casting. We have a page about enchantments. These follow most of the rules for basic spell casting. Things like line of sight is required. Range is required. The spell check, as far as whether or not it's a check or an opposed check, what the effect is, what the effect of miscasting. Then the next page here has enchantments. Enchantments, the big difference between an ephemeral spell, basically have a single effect. You could think of an ephemeral spell as like a magic missile or a fireball or something like that, where just boom, it happens, right? That's it. An enchantment is something that once you put it into play, it's going to stay in play until something forces it out of play. What is it, babe? No. So I want to say that again, that enchantments will remain in play as far as the duration of the scenario is concerned. They do not have timers. There was a version of the game where we tried that, where we looked at, where you have to go through and take a token off of each one of your enchantments.
We're getting a little stormy down here.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we got a storm rolling. Hey, Warren, thank you for joining. We're talking about magic tonight. Not sure how much longer. If we get a power outage here on Perilous Island, we may lose our power. But so once an enchantment is put into play, it will stay in play until it is reduced to a power of 0. So again, when an enchantment is attached to a character, you're going to put tokens on there to show that it is what its power is. It has a power of 3. Now this power can go up and down throughout the scenario based on, or even a turn, based on things that are happening. Yep. You can also have enchantments that attach to yourself or other friendly characters. those are a little bit harder sometimes for enemies to try to knock out.
Yeah.
But
not impossible.
But not impossible. You're exactly right. Not impossible. So we're talking about enchantments and ephemeral spells. We're talking about targets and ranges of spells and what does it mean as far as who can be targeted and what can be targeted and things like that.
Yeah.
One interesting one we use once in a while is called a spell marker. So let's say that Lady Elaine wanted to put a perilous area into play, you know, and she was over here. Well, what she would do is she would put a spell marker out there to say, well, I want my perilous area to appear right here. And then that becomes the target of the spell, not them. And that is kind of a way of throwing a dangerous spell on enemy characters that they don't get a chance to try to fight off. A perilous area is just thorns or whatever kind of grow up, or quicksand under their feet, or whatever you want to imagine, electrical storm around them, whatever you want to imagine it to be. So then that creates a perilous area around them. Now, if the spell...
Bye, Nay.
Nay has some mail coming to her. Retired Witcher. How is it in Oregon? Ants Fairfield is on here, really digging the magic rules. Good, good. You know, who knows how long it'll take us to really say we're done with them, but we got a lot.
Book form is...
Yeah, it's looking
very
really,
fun.
really nice. Now, I am planning to do a small booklet of about 25-page booklet.
So like quick start guide.
Yeah, size. Yeah, that it'll be just a short book about just dedicated to magic. It'll have the new arcane assets in there, some magic items. It'll have, you know, the new spells and things like that. And then we'll have a deck of cards. And again, the deck of cards will have the spell cards, plus the arcane assets as well, and a few spell books. I didn't want to clutter it up with a bunch of spell book cards, because you could use anything to write your spell book on. Any little slip of paper that you have, you can throw that on there. Thank you for joining tonight, Retired Witcher.
The it comes with a PDF, so
Yep.
you can print out
Yep, extras.
extra spellbook cards.
So here
Or
are...
print out your own cards if that's your thing.
Yeah, here are some arcane abilities. We're not going to get into all of them. These abilities can be selected during character creation, so you can create a brand new spellcaster. You can also use experience points to add these abilities to existing characters.
Yeah.
The abilities on this page are not limited to spellcasters only, so any character can learn these abilities. The abilities on this list are caster abilities, and this is limited to spellcasters only. And then we're going to get into the enchantments. We had to print this one sideways because it just didn't feel right to be printed this way. It was just way too awkward. So we turned it sideways, and because the style of book that we're going to do with this, that'll have the saddle staples, the book will lay open very nice and neatly, and you'll actually have those two pages just laying just like that. So you'll have, you know, all
One
of your
big-
enchantments right there in one big list for you. And
And you
then,
don't have to turn
so
the
there
page.
are your 15, I think, enchantment spells, and there are your 15 or so ephemeral spells. Now, we may always look at adding new spells later on. Summoning spells was one that I really was eyeing heavily. I think there needs to be a page in there about non-player characters casting spells. We're getting into the arcane assets. We have a page of magic items here. Again, this page can be used by any player character. Or any character, I guess we should say. And then the next page is caster. Okay, we'll just pretend that there's another page here that is caster only items. Apparently I didn't actually... Oh, no. Apparently I didn't actually print it. And then we get
We got
into
jokes.
and then we get into the spell cards, and we're probably getting all through. But I'm really there's what the arcane assets will look like. Of course, they'll be in lovely color, but that's what they will look like. And the new spell card design, that will be the back of the spell card, and it will also have lovely, vibrant color to it as well. So lots and lots of fun stuff there.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff. On a project like this, I work on it until I'm happy with it. That could be a week from now. That could be 6 months from now. Like, I won't stop working on it until I'm happy with it. I don't set a time limit. I don't set a deadline. So until I'm happy with it, I'm not going to just release it. So we have to be happy that it adds something to the game. And right now, I'm really happy with where it's going. And we have maybe about 4 or 5 pages that I think still need a significant amount of work, but the vast majority of it I'm really happy
And Manny
with.
came through big time with some lots of egg.
Yep. So I guess we should throw it out there if you feel like you would like to be involved with doing a little bit of playtesting with us and get an early, unedited, dirty, raw version of this. The only thing I would ask you, and I always feel weird when I say this, try not to say you want to do it unless you're going to be able to give it a good kicking of the tires and give us feedback.
Yeah.
Because that's what we really need, is for you to look at it and to, find errors, find mistakes, ask questions, because that helps us go, okay, well, that area needs a little more clarity. So we love getting those kinds of questions, especially at this point in the project, because it really does help us out. Anyway, if you'd like to be involved in the playtesting portion of this, be sure and send us either a Facebook message, leave a comment on this and let us know, and we can reach out to you. Send us an email and say, yeah, I have time to try it out, and I'll read through it and let you know, where it looks dumb, because that's our goal. Let me know the dumb parts. Think of yourself as an artist, David. Yeah, in a way, I suppose. There was an old buddy of mine that was a game designer as well, and he always critiqued me on treating it as an art form, and he always said it's not an art, it's a craft, which I thought was kind of, splitting hairs in a way. But I use the sculpting analogy when I'm working on these. I think of, the big pieces that I want in, and then, coming in and putting in all that detail and really making it work as you're moving in with it. I do kind of think of it as an artist.
You're an artist. What can I say?
Yeah.
You get high on paint all the time.
I do. I love the paint. Artiste. I think of myself as a thespian, an actor,
Line?
line.
No, I want to watch that.
Thank you guys so much for playing with us tonight. We appreciate y'all. Let us know what you guys think about this. Leave us some comments. Make sure you get subscribed to our little channel. Yada, yada, yada. Bessy, play us out of here.
Do. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Bessy. Doodle-doo-doo-doo-doo, Dave.